Hey Scrappers, it's Vanessa here with my first layout for the month of March for the Redefined Creative Design team. And the focus I have for this month is on Christina's many amazing classes. If you have not checked out her classes, I highly recommend them. There is so much inspiration, so many fun ideas, and she always has you pulling out and using your stash. She definitely encourages people, whether they've bought it from her or somewhere else. Her main goal is just to get people creating and using their supplies, and I love that. I will have the links below for the classes or for the website with the classes, as well as the Redefined Creative Facebook group, so that if you haven't checked it out, Christina on a daily basis is doing a layout on Facebook Live. And so, like I said, tons of inspiration, tons of ideas. So be sure to check that out. And I do have my discount code. If you do end up purchasing something, you can always use that and get a little bit of a discount. So my inspiration today comes from one of Christina's amazing Stash Bash classes. And the layout that I am using as inspiration today came from her fall Stash Bash. So I think her Stash Bash classes are probably her most popular. I know they're the ones that I probably love the most. And they're always so full of fun ideas and just different ways to pull out your stash and just get your pages created. And I never, ever am disappointed with any of the classes that I take from Christina. So like I said, I highly recommend them. So that's where my inspiration comes from today. I am not showing the original because obviously it was paid content, and I want you guys to go check out the classes. You will, like I said, you won't be disappointed. So that's where I'm pulling my inspiration. The first thing that I'm doing here for my layout is creating some little embellishments that I'm going to fussy cut off camera to put in amongst my sort of embellishment clusters on this layout. I just have a couple of different stamps and some sentiment stamps and a camera that I am just going to go ahead and stamp on this white cardstock. I pulled some colors that went with the florals that I had fussy cut that I knew I wanted to use on this page. And so that's where my inspiration for the ink colors and everything else that I pulled for this page really came from that floral pattern paper. That was a pattern paper that I did fussy cut. I'm going to take some white cardstock here. That is going to act as the base that I'm going to put sort of a vertical column of those florals on that white cardstock. And so I'm just using some Distress Oxide ink in, I believe that's Evergreen Bough, which I have to say is becoming my absolute favorite Distress Oxide color. That teal green color, I absolutely love it. I use it all the time, and I feel like almost every video I feel like I'm saying the name of that Distress Oxide. So now I have that sort of vertical column of florals started. It's not glued down, but that's what it's going to sort of look like for my layout. Next comes all of the pattern papers, and I am not surprisingly using a piece of white cardstock for my background for this layout, which has been the norm lately. If you've watched my videos, I've used a ton of white cardstock, but for this one I actually pulled out a piece of pattern paper, which is this blue sort of geometric pattern, and then I have this yellow background with these blue and white florals, and those are going to layer up on top of that Simple Stories kind of teal or green cardstock that you see there. So I'm going to have a couple of different layers. I am tearing the edges of that blue paper on what will be both sides. I'm going to tear the other side here in just a sec. And I'm going to tear that so that the yellow and floral paper peeks out around the edges. And then I will be putting a little embellishment cluster down at the bottom right on a piece of white cardstock to mirror that vertical pile of florals that you see on the left side of the page. So I am just going to use a bit of Distress Oxide ink on the torn edges of that paper just to add a bit of color to the torn edge. And there you see I have basically the background, how it's going to go. And now I am going to work on matting my photo, which I'm just going to take a piece of this yellow and use that to matte my photo. I am scrapping a picture of the design team. I didn't scrap this original picture when I did my first layout for the Redefined Creative Design team, but I thought for sure I wanted to make sure that I had scrapped it somewhere along the way. So this layout turned out to be the perfect way to document joining this amazing team, which if you have not seen some of the layouts from the design team, be sure to go over to Redefined Creative and check them out. They are all amazing, so much inspiration, and I am honored to be on the same team as these amazing crafters. So now that I have my background pretty much done and that main sort of vertical line of embellishments put down, I am going to pop up some of the florals as well as my photo that will get popped up off camera on some dimensional adhesive, so that it gives a bit of lift to the page, as well as this cluster down here at the bottom right. I will lift that up as well so it's not so flat. I'm basically just taking all of those fussy cut florals and the fussy cut stamped images and just layering them up into some fun little embellishment clusters. And I guess you could still say there's somewhat of a 3 embellishment cluster if you count the entire vertical side of that left as one big embellishment, and then the one around the top of my photo and the one to the right. I guess I kind of still have my 3 embellishment clusters, but in any event, I really love how this one came out. It has definitely the more is more feel that I like. And now I have gone ahead and glued everything down off camera, and I'm working on my title. Now this probably, or I won't say it probably, but it might not have been the original title that I was going to use, but I wanted to use these multicolored thickers, but I wanted to only use orange and yellow. And basically with what I had left, these were the only words that I could really spell the entire thing with the orange and yellow. And so it definitely works. It's sort of a perfect title because this is a dream team. So many, like I said, so many talented people. And so that is going to be the title that I'm going to use. Now to fill in some of the sort of open white spaces on that white cardstock, I did pull out these little blue hearts that I had just punched, and I'm going to just put those in some of the open spots, as well as finish all of the embellishment clusters on this page with just a little sprinkling of sequins. Those sequins came from one of my past Redefined Creative purchases, and I'm just going to scatter those around. And with that, this pretty much covers what I do for this layout. The still photos will be coming up. And so like I said, be sure to check out the store, and if you're looking for a class that'll give you tons of inspiration, I highly recommend any of Christina's classes. You certainly won't be disappointed. And with that, guys, here are the still photos, and I will catch you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.